From a gay truck driver in a small town to Hollywood's ultimate symbol of masculinity, only to fall into a tragedy that shook the world. This is the journey of Rock Hudson, a man who lived two lives, one on the silver screen, where he was the perfect embodiment of 1950s America, and one in the shadows, where he had to hide his true self. When his secret was exposed, it didn't just destroy his image, it changed history. Today, we'll dive deep into the life of Rock Hudson, from his challenging childhood, through the heights of fame, to the moment he changed the world. Picture a small town in Wetka, Illinois in the 1930s during the grip of the Great Depression, strangling America. In a cramped house, 11 people lived together, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Among them was a boy named Roy Harold Scherer Jr., who the world would later know as Rock Hudson. Roy was a cheerful child, running through the wheat fields, near his home, telling jokes to his aunts and uncles, always wearing a radiant smile. That boy had a vivid imagination, often dreaming of things bigger than his narrow life in Wetka. But when Roy was 6, his life changed forever. His father, Roy Sr., a man detached from his family, one day packed his bags, closed his suitcase, and left without a word of explanation. That sudden departure left a deep wound in Roy's heart. He became reserved, quiet, and found solace only in the darkened movie theaters of the town. In those theaters, Roy idolized stars like John Hall, a handsome actor with a commanding presence. Young Roy sat there in the flickering light of the screen, dreaming of one day standing under the spotlight, becoming a star like his idol. But that dream wasn't welcomed in his family. Roy's stepfather, Wallace Fitzgerald, was a harsh man who believed acting was a girl's job. He confiscated toys he deemed feminine, punished Roy for crying or showing emotion, and when Roy confessed his dream of becoming an actor, his stepfather beat him. I can feel Roy's pain. A boy forced to hide his passion just to stay safe. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to bury your dreams just to please others? For Roy, that was the reality he faced every day. But the fire of passion inside him never died. He learned to keep secrets, not just about his dreams, but about his true self, a lesson that would follow him throughout his life. After high school, Roy and his mother moved to Pasadena, California, near the movie capital of Hollywood, to chase his dream. He enrolled at the University of Southern California to study acting, but that dream was cut short when he couldn't afford the tuition. Life in California was expensive, and Roy was forced to work as a truck driver, a monotonous job that took him through the dusty roads of Los Angeles. But Roy didn't give up. Between deliveries, he bought a cheap suit, slightly tight and ill-fitting, and stood outside studio gates, hoping someone would notice him. He imagined walking through those gates, being invited to an audition, and becoming a star. But Hollywood didn't open its doors easily. Roy was rejected, ignored, and his dreams seemed further away than ever. I think of Roy standing there in his worn-out suit with burning hope but no one paying attention. It's a lonely moment, but it also shows his incredible perseverance. Then one day, Roy discovered a world he didn't know existed, the secret gay community in 1940s Los Angeles. In a small bar, he met Mark and George, a gay couple living happily and openly with each other. Though they had to keep it hidden from society, they became Roy's second family, the first people he could share his true self with without fear of judgment. Mark and George weren't just friends, they were emotional anchors, showing Roy a life where love and authenticity could exist. Even in the shadows, they introduced him to Ken Hodge, a radio producer with a warm smile and magnetic confidence. Roy and Ken quickly fell in love. They moved into a small apartment together in Hollywood, and Ken became Roy's unofficial agent. Ken helped Roy get his first professional photos, introduced him to industry contacts, and threw parties to help Roy network with people who could open doors to his career. I feel this was a hopeful chapter in Roy's life when he first experienced unconditional love and support, but Hollywood with its harsh rules wouldn't let things be that easy. To become a star, Roy needed a guide, and that guide was Henry Wilson, a powerful but controversial agent. Henry saw potential in Roy, his handsome face, tall stature, and determination, but he also saw a major problem: Roy's sexuality. In 1940s Hollywood, being gay was considered a sin, something that could destroy a career in an instant. Henry demanded Roy end his relationship with Ken, a heartbreaking decision that forced Roy to give up the man he loved. Henry also changed Roy's name to Rock Hudson, a strong masculine name, completely at odds with the shy, vulnerable boy Roy truly was. Henry trained Rock ruthlessly, fixing his voice, changing his walk, erasing any trace of what he deemed feminine. He made Rock take boxing lessons, ride horses, and even had a vocal coach force him to scream until his voice deepened, a brutal process that permanently cost him his ability to sing. I can't help but think of the cruelty of this transformation. Rock had to give up not just his love, but his very self. Have you ever wondered how much you'd be willing to sacrifice for your dreams? For Rock, the price was his true identity, a sacrifice he'd carry for the rest of his life. Under Henry's guidance, Rock began his journey to stardom, but the path wasn't easy. Rock lacked acting experience, often clumsy on set, ruining takes and frustrating directors. In his first film, Fighter Squadron, his role was so small it consisted of just one line, and even that he flubbed so many times the director gave it to someone else. But Rock didn't give up. He was sent to Universal's acting school where he learned to project confidence, strength, and masculinity, qualities post-war American audiences craved. Slowly, Rock began to change. He grew more confident, his presence more commanding, and he started catching the eye of producers. By the mid-1950s, Rock Hudson became Hollywood's biggest star. He starred in Magnificent Obsession alongside Susan Hayward, a celebrated actress known for her elegant beauty and emotional depth. His role as a bad boy turned good catapulted him to fame. The film was a massive hit, and Rock became the perfect symbol of American masculinity, strong, confident, and romantic enough to make audiences swoon. Next came a series of romantic comedies, with Debbie Reynolds, a bright star with a radiant smile and playful charm. In Pillow Talk, Rock played a man pretending to be someone else to win love, a storyline eerily similar to his real life, where he also had to pretend to hide his true self. These films weren't just commercial successes, they cemented Rock's image as the ideal man, the one every woman dreamed of and every man wanted to be. But behind the glamour, Rock lived in constant fear. To squash rumors about his sexuality, Henry Wilson arranged for Rock to marry his secretary, Phyllis Gates, in 1955. The marriage, though it seemed happy at first, was essentially a staged act to protect Rock's image. Rock and Phyllis had joyful moments, spending time with Mark and George, but the pressure of hiding the truth drove a wedge between them. Rock continued secret relationships like with Jack Navarre, another young actor under Henry's wing. But Henry, with his manipulative ways, always sabotaged Rock's relationships, seeing them as threats to his career. The marriage to Phyllis fell apart after 3 years, as neither could bear the strain any longer. I feel heartbroken for Rock, a man who longed for real love, but was forced to live in an endless charade. Have you ever thought about what's more painful, living a fake life or losing the chance to love authentically? In 1956, Rock got the chance to tackle a more complex role in Giant, an epic about a Texas oil family. He played Bick Benedict, a strong but conflicted man. Director George Stevens had Rock study stars like Gary Cooper and Spencer Tracy, who also had complicated personal lives but projected perfect masculinity on screen. The film was a huge success, earning multiple Oscar nominations, but Rock remained trapped in perfect man roles. He yearned to play more complex characters, but producers only wanted him as eye candy, as one director put it. I see this as a quiet tragedy. Rock worked hard to become a real actor, but Hollywood only cared about his looks. Do you ever feel it's unfair when someone's talent is overlooked because their image is too perfect? In the 1960s, Rock continued starring in romantic comedies, but he grew tired of the persona built for him. He was also fed up with Henry Wilson, who controlled every aspect of his life. In 1964, Rock met Tom Clark, a PR employee at MGM, and they quickly fell in love. Tom encouraged Rock to break free from Henry, and finally Rock found the courage to end their toxic relationship. But freedom came at a cost. Without Henry, Rock struggled to choose roles, and his career began to decline with a string of flops. From a box office king, he slowly faded from the spotlight. I find this phase heartbreaking. Rock sacrificed so much for fame, but when he tried to reclaim his freedom, he lost his shine. Do you think freedom is sometimes worth more than fame? In 1970, during a theater tour, Rock visited San Francisco and met John Rushy, a young writer exploring urban life. Instead of a loud party, they met at a small cafe in the Castro, a hub for the gay community. John, who had recently come out to his family, took Rock through bookstores and gay clubs where people lived authentically. In a cozy moment, John shared a draft of his novel, and Rock